I love racists, but I fight for Black lives. Hello there. Welcome back to another video. I did not hit my knee. I am legendary. Look, if you don't get why that's so funny, then you haven't watched my first video and you should go back and do that. And just go ahead and subscribe while you're at it. But welcome back to another video with your girl Santee Unfiltered. Hope you guys are ready for some unfiltered conversation today, because that is what I'm hoping to have. Please reach out to me in my Instagram DMs, down in the comments below. Interact with me, each other, and all of that, because I really just wanted to make this video to share my thoughts and kind of open the door for a different kind of conversation, you know? I've been very hesitant to share most of my personal thoughts and feelings on social media or on here. Like, I've actually tried to record this video approximately 25 times, no joke. And I've just been super cautious because I didn't want to say anything out of anger or anything like that, because I try to be very aware of my position of influence, and I hope you guys are as well. And when I say position of influence, I don't mean like, oh my gosh, I'm famous. I mean, like, if you think about it, the average classroom has about 25 students in it. So when I post something on my Instagram story and I'm getting 60, 70, 100 views on it, that's almost 4 classrooms full of people that are seeing what I'm saying and being some way influenced by whatever I'm saying. So I hope you guys are keeping that in mind. And that goes for reposting the videos of these brutal murders as well, because it's one thing to bring awareness, but awareness can easily become desensitization. It's like when you walk into a room that's like super stinky, and at first it hits you like a ton of bricks and you're like, oh my god, I can't breathe. And then after a while it's just like, oh, okay, it stinks in here, but you know, it's okay, it's whatever. And that's what you don't want to happen with the Black Lives Matter movement. You don't want people to get so used to seeing the injustice that they don't feel the need or see a way to change it. So, like, for me, I reposted the information regarding the George Floyd case and Breonna Taylor and all of that, but I never reposted the video itself, simply because, one, I feel like most of the people that follow me and watch my stuff have probably already seen it, and they just don't need to see that over and over again. And two, because I know that there are some younger people that follow me, and I'm just like, y'all don't need to watch this video. You need to know what's going on, be aware, but I don't need you to just have that kind of graphic image in your mind. And that brings me to my next thing. This is traumatic for everyone. People on different levels and in different ways. And people are also grieving not just the loss of George Floyd, but the loss of another Black life at the hands of a racist officer. People are grieving the loss of justice, of peace, of safety in the system. And it's not that it just left yesterday. It's just, you see it on video. For 8 minutes and 46 seconds, this man is begging for his life and nothing is being done. And even afterwards, this officer is still working. So, and with that, people grieve in different ways. On social media, I've seen a lot of people trying to tell other people how they should be dealing with this anger and this grief. And I cannot agree with that at all, because as most of you know, I actually have PTSD, and I can tell you a lot of those symptoms are mirrored when dealing with this kind of stuff. The hypervigilance, like, and that just means, like, you know, all white people aren't racist, you know, all officers aren't bad, but you just don't know who to trust. So you feel like you're in this constant state of awareness, and that's exhausting. So just like at a funeral where people grieve and deal with the trauma and that pain in different ways, some people are hollering and screaming, and some people are just sitting there quietly observing. That doesn't mean that the person that's hollering and screaming is any less affected than the person that's just sitting there. It just means that they're choosing to grieve in a different way. And I've seen a lot of that negative energy kind of put towards the rioting and the looting. And I just want to say, first of all, if you look at it, most of the violence that's starting is not being started by people of color. So, despite what the media is trying to push, keep that in your mind. But also, so people are angry, and they have the right to be, because We're being asked to respect and obey laws that have been broken by the people called to enforce them. And that's a painful thing to deal with. But here's the unfiltered truth. I know a lot of you guys are here for the title, and that's what we're about to get into. I have to love racists. So I just said I understand where the rioting and the looting is coming from. I understand the anger, the pain, and I personally think that we need that kind of energy. I was in a forum with my church people recently, and someone said that something that kind of stood out is that a lot of times our history books villainize Malcolm X, and they make Martin Luther King seem like this passive kind of sweet guy, when really we needed both. Both of them caused the movement. Both of them drove the change. And that's something that I believe wholeheartedly. We need the people in the streets to let that anger out and tear some stuff up. But then at the same time, we can't all be in that lane. I feel like everybody has a different place and a different lane in this kind of movement. And so for me, as a Christian, as just a person, I feel like something God has dealt heavily with me on is loving unconditionally and understanding that I am not more worthy of grace, love, or forgiveness than someone like Derek Chauvin. And I don't say that lightly. And a lot of people are going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired of passive Christianity. Oh my gosh, all Christians do is pray and sit down. Like, no. That's not what I'm saying. But for me and my life, I have to understand that there are 3 causes that I'm willing to die for. I mean, I'm willing to die for anyone really, but there are 3 things that I fight for consistently and I'm willing to die for is my religion, my faith with God and God. That is something that I stand heavily on, and I will die for it. I will die for Christ. People that have endured abuse, that's something that I'm very passionate about because I've endured different forms of abuse, and I don't believe in silence, and that's something I'm gonna die for. I will die for it. I will die fighting for the awareness and the ending of abuse. And my blackness. I am black, blackity, black. In case you cannot tell, in case you're one of those people that don't see color, I'm black. So those are 3 things that I'm willing to die for. But on that same note, as a Christian, I am fighting for Christ. So as a Christian, my number one authority that I report to is not the police. It's not some goofy behind president. It's God. So with that passion and that fervor of being willing to die for this cause, I have to be aware that if I do have to die for this cause, if God calls me to lay down my life for my brother, then I also have to report to him. And when I go to God, he's going to be like, did you love the way I told you to love? Did you love Derek Chauvin as much as you love George Floyd? Would you fight for Derek Chauvin's life as much as you fought for George Floyd's life? And so that is what I mean when I say I love racists. It's not I support racism. It's not any of that. It just means that as painful as it is, and trust me, I'm not just saying this, like this is something that I've had to exercise in my personal life as well. Because I just feel like we're all called to, but God has really like beat this into me, is that I have to love the way that God loves me. And I look at my life, I'm not racist, but I do have my prejudices. I do have my areas of weakness, and my areas of weakness are no better than Derek Chauvin's racist behind. To Derek Chauvin, I hate what you did. I hate the system that allows you and officers like you to get away with this kind of action, but I love you. I love Derek Chauvin. I love everyone, really. But when I say I love everyone, I have to actually love everyone and not just the people that are easy to love. So Derek Chauvin, you'll probably never see this, but I want you to know that you have not stolen my peace. You have not stolen my salvation. You may have stolen a brother's life, and that is something that I don't have to work hard to forgive, but I still love you. Because for me, my Bible and my God tells me that the minute you convince me to hate you, you've now made me you. So you may have physically taken someone's life, But in the eyes of my God, the moment that I begin to hate you, I've already committed murder in my heart. So I'm not going to let you get me to that place. I cannot allow you to. And trust me, I know that there are people that have gotten to that place, and I understand it. So when I say I love racists, I mean I love racists. And I love Derek Chauvin as much as I love the next person. But I also believe that his actions are inexcusable. And trust me, I will fight, and I will protest, and I will vote to make sure that those kind of actions are not protected by the system, but that the people in power, the people in leadership at every level of government, not just national elections, but at every level, because the chief of police in his county, in his area, should have addressed the situation. There's no reason that somebody with 12 to 16 strikes on excessive force is allowed to be out in the field. Because for me, Black Lives Matter every day. So for me, that's the part that gets me. Not just the fact that George Floyd died, but that they saw this coming. And it wasn't until somebody died at the hands of Derek Chauvin that anyone felt the need to say, oh, let's take him off the streets. And if it was not for social media, if it was not for everyone reposting and protesting that he be charged, he probably would have been back at work. Now, how'd that work? So for me, it's something that God has kind of dealt with me recently on is, and I was talking to somebody about this, but I don't think I explained it well because I was so all over the place, but fighting for Black lives while they're still breathing. Because I looked at George Floyd's funeral and it broke my heart, because as much as we rally in his name now, it does not bring his life back. It does not it does not change the fact that his daughter is now growing up without a father. And that is something that breaks my heart. For 8 minutes and 46 seconds, he begged for air. For 8 minutes and 46 seconds, pled for his life. And I'm not killing the movement at all, please understand. But I just know that for me, my calling, my purpose in this whole fight, and in those 3 fights that I told you that I fight in, I want Black lives to matter more than Black death. I want to make sure that the system does not continue to brutalize and dehumanize people of color, specifically in this case, Black people, because I don't want another person to have to die for people to see that their change needs to happen. Because I was thinking about it, and basically what I was trying to explain to the person I was talking to is that it's like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But just because it makes me stronger doesn't mean it's not serious. Because if you look at it, and I need to fact check myself, counts or strikes or whatever of excessive force against Derek Chauvin. Those are 12 situations where people were beaten or excessively hurt by this man. And because they didn't die, there was no accountability. There was no recourse. Stop waiting until Black lives are gone to say they matter. White people, stop waiting until Black lives are gone to say they matter. When you look around your boardroom and don't see any people of color, Black lives matter. When you walk into a company and you see one Black person in the whole place, Black lives matter. When you're reviewing applicants for loans, and one person's name is Shanquisha and the other is named Carrie, Black lives matter. I love racists, but I fight for Black lives. I don't even want to do an outro on this video. Go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe. Please talk to me. Have a conversation with me, especially if you don't agree with me. I'd love to talk to you. I love hearing other points of view. We got to do more. This will not be the last time I talk about this topic. I plan on starting a couple new series on here. So, but I'll let y'all know more about that later. I'm not even in the mood to self-promote right now. I'm pissed. Okay, I'm upset. But you know what? Love you guys.